Welcome to our comprehensive guide on residential status under Indian income tax law. Understanding your residential status is crucial because it determines how your income will be taxed in India. Whether you are an Indian citizen, a person of Indian origin, or a foreign national, the rules apply to everyone earning or receiving income in India. In this video, we'll break down the key sections of the Income Tax Act, explain the criteria for being considered a resident, and illustrate these with practical examples. Let's start by exploring what it means to be a resident in India for tax purposes. Section 6(1) of the Income Tax Act, 1961, lays out the foundation for determining residential status. According to this section, an individual is considered a resident in India if they satisfy either of two conditions. First, if they stayed in India for 182 days or more during the relevant previous year. Second, if they stayed in India for at least 60 days in the relevant previous year and for a total of 365 days or more in the 4 years preceding that year. These rules are designed to capture both long-term and frequent short-term stays in India. To apply these rules, it's important to understand the terms assessment year and previous year. The assessment year is the year in which your income is assessed for tax, while the previous year is the year in which you actually earned the income. For example, for assessment year 2018-18, the relevant previous year is 2017-18. All calculations regarding days of stay are based on the previous year, not the assessment year. Person of Indian origin is someone who, or whose father or grandfather was born in India. This definition is important for certain relaxations and provisions under the Income Tax Act. It applies regardless of whether the birth was on the maternal or paternal side. However, being a resident of India does not automatically mean you are a citizen of India. The law distinguishes between residency for tax purposes and citizenship. The term India in the Income Tax Act is defined broadly. It includes not just the territory of India as per the Constitution, but also its territorial waters, seabed, subsoil, continental shelf, exclusive economic zone, and even the airspace above these areas. This comprehensive definition ensures that income earned in these extended areas is also subject to Indian tax laws. India's territory for tax purposes extends beyond its land borders. Territorial waters stretch 12 nautical miles from the shore. Beyond that, up to 24 nautical miles are the Indian custom waters. The exclusive economic zone extends up to 200 nautical miles from the shore. Income earned in these areas is considered Indian income for tax purposes. Beyond 200 nautical miles are international waters, which are not included. Let's revisit Section 6(1) with a practical example. For assessment year 2018-18, the relevant previous year is 2017-18. To be a resident, you must have stayed in India for at least 182 days in 2017-18, or for at least 60 days in 2017-18, and a total of 365 days in the 4 preceding years. This dual condition ensures that both long-term and frequent visitors are covered under the law. Consider Mr. A, an Indian citizen aged 30, who leaves India for the first time on October 15, 2017. To determine his residential status for assessment year 2018-18, we calculate his stay in India during the previous year 2017-18. From April 1 to October 15, he stayed for 198 days, which is more than the required 182 days. Therefore, Mr. A qualifies as a resident for tax purposes for that year. Section 6(2) deals with Hindu undivided families, HUFs, firms, and associations of persons. These entities are considered residents in India unless their control and management are wholly outside India during the relevant year. If the manager, known as the Karta, resides wholly or partly in India, the entity is treated as resident. This ensures that entities with significant ties to India are taxed accordingly. Section 6(3) specifies when a company is considered resident in India. A company is resident if it is registered in India or if its place of effective management is in India during the relevant year. The place of effective management refers to where key management and commercial decisions are made. This ensures that companies with significant operations in India are taxed as residents. Place of effective management is a crucial concept for companies. It means the location where key management and commercial decisions necessary for the conduct of business as a whole are made. If these decisions are made in India, the company is considered a resident, even if it is incorporated elsewhere. This prevents companies from avoiding Indian taxes by shifting their registration abroad. Section 6(6) introduces the concept of not ordinarily resident nor. An individual is nor if they have been non-resident in India for 9 out of the 10 previous years preceding the relevant year, or have stayed in India for 729 days or less during the 7 years preceding the relevant year. The same applies to HUFs based on the residency of the Karta. This status affects the scope of taxable income. Let's look at Mr. X, an American citizen who comes to India for the first time in 2013-14. Over 5 years, his days in India are 55, 60, 90, 150, and 70. For assessment year 2018-18, the relevant previous year is 2017-18, with only 70 days in India. Neither the 182-day rule nor the 365 days in 4 years plus 60 days in the relevant year is satisfied. Therefore, Mr. X is not a resident for tax purposes. Now consider Mr. X visiting India for 120 days every year. Over 4 years, that's 480 days, and in the relevant previous year, he stayed 120 days. This satisfies the second condition, more than 365 days in 4 years and more than 60 days in the relevant year. Thus, for assessment year 2018-18, Mr. X is considered a resident for tax purposes. Scope of total income that is taxable in India depends on 3 main factors: the residential status of the assessee, the place where the income accrues or is received, and the timing of accrual or receipt. These factors together determine whether income is taxable in India, regardless of where it is earned or received. There are three main income tax statuses in India: resident and ordinarily resident ROR, resident but not ordinarily resident RNOR, and non-resident NR. Your status affects which types of income are taxable in India. Both Indian citizens and foreigners are subject to these rules if they earn or receive income in India. Resident and ordinarily resident ROR in India is taxed on their global income. This includes income received or deemed to be received in India, income accrued or deemed to be accrued in India, and income that accrues outside India, even if it is not received or brought into India. RORs have the widest tax liability under Indian law. Accrued income refers to income that has been earned but not yet received. For tax purposes, income must be recorded in the accounting period in which it is earned, not when it is actually received. This ensures that all income is properly accounted for in the correct financial year. Resident but not ordinarily resident RNOR is taxed on income received or deemed to be received in India, and income accrued or deemed to be accrued in India. However, income accruing or arising outside India is not included in their total income. This status is for individuals who have recently become residents or have limited ties to India. Non-resident NR is only taxed on income received or deemed to be received in India and income accrued or deemed to be accrued in India. Foreign income is not taxable for non-residents. This status is common for individuals who live and work outside India for most of the year. Indian income includes income received or deemed to be received in India, income accrued or deemed to be accrued in India, and income accrued outside India but first received in India. This broad definition ensures that all income with a connection to India is considered for taxation. Foreign income is income that is accrued or deemed to be accrued outside India and received outside India. It also includes income from a business or profession controlled from India but earned abroad. The taxability of foreign income depends on your residential status. Let's summarize the taxability of different types of income for ROR, RNOR, and NR. Indian income is taxable for all three statuses. However, foreign income is taxable only for ROR and RNOR but not for NR. This table helps clarify which incomes are subject to Indian tax based on residency. To recap, your residential status determines the scope of your taxable income in India. The rules are based on the number of days you stay in India and your ties to the country. Understanding these rules ensures you comply with Indian tax laws and avoid penalties. Always keep track of your days of stay and consult a tax expert if needed. Knowing your residential status helps you plan your finances better. It affects not just your tax liability but also eligibility for certain deductions and exemptions. For example, residents may have to report and pay tax on global income, while non-residents are taxed only on Indian income. Make sure to review your status each year as it can change based on your travel and stay. For expatriates, understanding residential status is especially important. Many expats may not realize that frequent or extended stays in India can make them residents for tax purposes. This can lead to unexpected tax liabilities on global income. Always check your days of stay and consult with a tax advisor if you are unsure. Accurately tracking your days of stay in India is essential for determining your residential status. Keep a record of your entry and exit dates and calculate your total days in India each year. This will help you avoid mistakes and ensure you comply with tax regulations. Seafarers and others working outside India for extended periods need to be careful. Their days of stay in India can fluctuate, affecting their residential status. Special rules may apply, so it's important to consult the latest guidelines and seek professional advice. If you are a resident in India but also pay taxes abroad, you may be eligible for double taxation relief. India has agreements with many countries to avoid taxing the same income twice. Check the relevant Double Taxation Avoidance Agreement (DTAA) to see if you qualify for relief. Residents and ordinarily residents (ROR) must report their foreign assets and income in their Indian tax returns. Failure to do so can result in penalties. Make sure to disclose all foreign bank accounts, investments, and properties as required by law. Some income is deemed to accrue in India even if it is earned abroad. For example, income from a business controlled from India or from services rendered in India is taxable. The law ensures that income with a strong connection to India is taxed appropriately. Any income received or deemed to be received in India is taxable regardless of the source. This includes salaries, interest, dividends, and other payments credited to an Indian bank account. Always check where your income is received to determine its taxability. Income accrued or deemed to be accrued in India is also taxable. This includes income from property, business, or services located in India. Even if the payment is made outside India, if the source is in India, it is taxable. For RORs, income accrued outside India is also taxable, even if it is not brought into India. For RNORs and NRs, such income is generally not taxable unless it is received in India. This distinction is crucial for those with foreign earnings. Income from a business or profession controlled from India is considered Indian income, even if the operations are abroad. This rule ensures that Indian residents cannot avoid tax by shifting business activities overseas while retaining control in India. Suppose you are an ROR and earn salary in the US, interest in the UK, and rent in India. All these incomes are taxable in India. You must report your global income in your Indian tax return and may claim relief for taxes paid abroad under DTAA. If you are an RNOR, only income received or accrued in India or income from a business controlled from India is taxable. Foreign income that is not received in India is not taxable. This status is beneficial for returning Indians with foreign assets. For non-residents, only income received or accrued in India is taxable. Foreign income is not taxed in India. This is common for Indians working abroad who do not meet the residency criteria. Your residential status can change from year to year based on your days of stay in India. Always review your travel and stay records annually to determine your correct status. This will help you file accurate tax returns and avoid penalties. Failing to determine and report your correct residential status can lead to penalties and interest charges. The Income Tax Department may also initiate proceedings for concealment of income. Always ensure your tax filings reflect your true status. Tax consultants can help you navigate the complexities of residential status and income tax. They can assist in calculating days of stay, interpreting the law, and ensuring compliance. If you have complex income sources or frequent travel, professional advice is invaluable. Maintain detailed records of your travel, income, and tax filings. Good record keeping helps you prove your residential status if questioned by tax authorities. Store all documents securely and update them regularly. Common mistakes include miscalculating days of stay, failing to report foreign income, and misunderstanding the rules for RNOR and NR. Avoid these errors by staying informed and seeking help when needed. Accurate reporting protects you from penalties. Refer to the Income Tax Department website, Double Taxation Avoidance Agreements, and Professional Tax Guides for more information. These resources provide up-to-date rules and examples to help you determine your residential status and tax obligations. In conclusion, understanding your residential status is the first step to proper tax planning in India. Review your travel, income sources, and consult experts if needed. Staying compliant not only avoids penalties but also gives you peace of mind. Thank you for watching this guide on residential status under Indian tax law.